Hey there, Brian. Hope you're having a great day today. Hanging out with your buddy that just came in town. It's your video lesson. Two things I want to talk about. I'll go down the list, and if you have any questions at the end, just fire them over to me, and I'll do my best to answer. So cool. So why did I start the video with a short jam? Is because I wanted to show you that if you know your cage chords, you can get away with a lot of stuff, or you can use those as like the framework for adding chromaticism, pretty dissonant actually, into a lot of the jam music. So basically what was supporting that solo was my knowledge of the landing spots of the cage chord arpeggios. And what I was doing in there was I was using those as a framework, but then adding in a lot of blue notes. I got away with playing an F sharp against an F in there, which I thought was pretty cool. So using some more exotic scales that are related to the blues. I use those as kind of like the filler between the dots of the cage chord arpeggios. And there's a lot of cool sounds out there that you can do once you understand that. But how I started doing that was kind of related to your question is cage chord, or the cage chords, and how do those relate to the arpeggios? And they're basically the same thing for me. The cage chord G right here, that solo was based off of like two ideas, which I wrote down here, which was this and this. That was the framework of everything that I did in that solo, the structure of it, the framing it at least. And then I used my knowledge of the blues scales or bebop scales to fill in the blanks. So the way I first started doing that, I didn't like come out the gate going, oh, there's a guitar, I wonder what I can do. Oh wow, that works, how neat. No, what I did first was, this is a G chord. This is an E form G chord because this is a root 6 chord right here. Let's see here, oh, I can do this. I can break it apart. Right, so the first thing I did was I got really good at doing that. Right, I had to know stone cold where all those notes were, because if I had to look over here on a chart, going, I wonder what the arpeggio is, I'm not going to be able to create or improvise. So the first thing I had to do was acquire the knowledge of what the arpeggio even was, or what's the framework even is. And that's the step that gets to most people, because it's like the most not fun part of it, I guess you could say. All the chromaticism stuff, all this like, like that's like the fun. I think the fun is like the most fun part. But you got to get past the where is the landing spot stage, and that's what stumps a lot of people. So what I did a lot of times, so see if I start that backing track, I'll send it over to is China Cat Sunflower by the Grateful Dead is a great jam song to do this with. If I put that on, I take the E form cage chord. And then, if you remember from last week, I sent over. I talked about the magic triangle. There's some things in the Rock Secrets books that are really worth exploring. One seems almost like mundane. It's the magic triangle. And what I did in that, so I run the shape first, right? And then I learned where all the G's were. Right, and I practiced that for a while. So I would do two things. Chord. Then where all the G's are. And train my ear to hear all the landing spots. And then the next thing that I started learning was the 6/7 arpeggio. And this is super important right here. This is where we start moving away from just playing the cage shape. So the first thing you gotta do is be able to see the cage shape. Like, so like they are almost like letting up for me. I've done it so much, I can just like see them on the fretboard. I don't have to guess where they are anymore. And then we add an extra note to it, the 6th scale degree. So we turn it into a G6 chord. Right? So I have this. So I have the G, because that's my starting spot. G, B, D, and then the E gives us a little bit of melodic interest. Right? So that way I can go. Right? And I just get 4 notes. If I can't be creative with 4 notes, 7 notes doesn't matter. Right? If I can't be creative with 1 note, right? How can I be creative with two notes? It's kind of like, oh, if you give me more colors, I can paint better, right? It doesn't work that way. You gotta be creative with a small amount of information first before you sort of open up the floodgates and throw some like crazy chromaticism like the blues scale. What I was doing in that opening solo is I was mixing together like Mixolydian flat 3, Mixolydian sharp 7, and the what else? The G blues scale and the G minor pentatonic. I was mixing all those things together. So I have all these different tools and concepts that I've explored over the years and kind of mix them all together in Big Papa. The first thing you got to do is you got to start from the beginning, which is playing just a straight arpeggio in the 6. Once you can play that and outline that, the next thing to do, and I can write it down here at the bottom, is make micro solos. I know we all these grand visions of playing like the Comfrey Numb solo for 2 minutes or something like that, but to begin doing that, you have to make micro solos. You get 4 notes, and can you make a hook of a song, right? Think of like, I always use the example, Oye Como Va, like it's not a complex in terms of like note choice, what he's doing there. He's made it rhythmically interesting and come up like an earworm, right? So to make a long solo or to solo with this stuff, you must first do it with just the cage chord plus the added 6. So I put that backing track back on. Right, so now I actually have a coherent idea, not just me just noodling about or running up and down the pattern, but I'm trying to make a repetitive melodic pattern that's like a hook of a song. Right? So once I can do that, right, I make a bunch of those. I can spend a whole afternoon with just those 4 notes and just see what I can tease out of it. Doing different rhythmic groupings, things like that. Since you're a drummer, I won't go on about that because you probably know a lot about rhythm anyway as it is. So what you do there is you first on the G6 arpeggio and be able to create very short like ideas, like little 2-bar ideas if it's a faster tempo. Right, so then what you do after that, then you add the 7th onto it. So now we have a G6-7 arpeggio. Now we have this, as our note choices. Right, see if you can handle that. If you can make a creative hook with that, you're in business, right? So the first thing I would do is put the backing track on and sing while you do this stuff. Singing is really important when coming up with the catchy ideas. So there I bent to the 7th. But always based around that shape. Just little micro solos. Are they singable? Right? If they're singable, they're going to be more of a hook rather than just like playing sequential patterns and things like that. So that's what I have a student do is take the cage chord, break it into pieces, and then do the 6-7 arpeggio, G6 arpeggio. When they're comfortable with that, then you add the 7th on, and then try to make little hook ideas in there. So not super long solos or noodly ideas, but just can you sing like a right? Right? You can have fun in the afternoon. I could spend all day on that if I wanted to, just in that spot right there. You do that for a while, right? And you get good in that spot, you practice your pentatonic scales, that sort of thing. Then what you do, you rinse and repeat that concept on the other 4 cage shapes, right? D and C, they're kind of almost the same thing, so I kind of lump them together, right? So the next one I would do, if I were learning this over again, would be I would learn the C form G chord. And pick out the arpeggio on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. Yeah, buddy? Oh, my assistant is here to help us. So make sure we have to work on our arpeggios. Oh, do you need that start over again? All right.
Okay,
there we go, buddy.
after this one?
Oh, I don't know. You have to pick one.
Pick one.
Sorry.
Okay.
Wait, Dad, you use your finger. You can do it. Right, go ahead. All right, so, I would do that same process, rinse and repeat up the neck, being very methodical about the whole thing. So I practice this for a while. I turn that back and drag back on, stretch it here. So I'm taking that 5/4, that's 4/3/2 strings. Right, hold on, buddy, Daisy's hand. Can I be creative with that? And then went back down to E form position. Back up to C form. Is it a hook? Is it a short idea? So that's really what it comes down to, is starting small with your arpeggio shapes broken up from the cage chords, creating with that small little hook ideas, adding the sixth in when the sixth is comfortable, and you can create some neat hook ideas with that. Add the seventh in. I like to bend into the seventh, sounds nice. And then you slowly just rinse and repeat all over the neck until you got full coverage of the G6/7 arpeggio across the whole thing, right? That sentence right there could take a long time to get really good with it and to be creative and free with it. I have fun with it too. Sometimes I go back and shed that stuff, and I'll have fun all afternoon on just those 4 notes. So you gotta practice those. Awesome, man. So when you're ready to come back on in the studio, shoot me a message, and I'll tell you what I got available for you. So good luck in getting everything taken care of, and really looking forward to seeing you. It's been really nice working with you, and I really look forward to seeing you again. So hopefully it's not the last time I see you in this video. Take care, man.